I am Buzz Aldrin, and I was the lunar module pilot on Apollo 11.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
Roger, Eagle, send dock.
Roger, how does it look?
The Eagle has wings.
Roger.
Looking good.
Roger, Neil.
Everything looked normal when we separated. Little communications problems with Earth, but then when we got to the point of lighting the engine for powered descent.
Eagle, we got you now. It's looking good, over.
Roger, copy.
Neil said, I think we might be a little long. Well, how could he tell that? He had some lines marked on the map, and looking at the watch or clock we were. We get to a point looking down where we're gonna want to yaw around and let the landing radar begin to correct the knowledge that the computer had of exactly what the orbit is.
Eagle, Houston, after yaw around, angled S-band pitch, -9er, yaw, +18.
And shortly after that happened, we began to get some program alarms,
Give us a reading on the 1202 program alarm.
which interrupted the displays. Now, the displays to the crew from the computer were pretty basic. There were 3 registers of a lot of numbers, and you had to know what each one of those meant. But now they were blanked because we had this program alarm. And so we asked Houston what the problem was if we're still go on that. After a few minutes, they came back and said,
Roger, we got you. We're going at alarm.
we continued down, but it tended to distract a little bit, but we were still on a good landing trajectory. As the lander gets down to about 500 feet, the commander, nobody has ever really maneuvered and checked the response of the landing craft. And so all the commanders agreed that at 500 feet, they would begin to manually control toward what looked like a reasonable landing spot. And everything still appeared to be okay. And I could see, and Neil also wanted to avoid a crater that was in front of us.
Forward. Forward.
When we were at about 100 feet, now Neil is looking out the window and manually controlling, and I'm giving him the numbers of the altitude rate or descent rate, and the speed over the ground.
40 feet down, 2.5. Picking up some dust. 4 forward.
And I keep updating with that information.
4 forward. Drift into the right a little. Good. Okay.
At about 100 feet, there's a light that comes on as a fuel quantity light. And about that time, the capsule communicator, Charlie Duke, says,
60 seconds.
okay, 100 feet, 60 seconds. We better ease down is what I'm saying. But I don't want to disturb Neil by saying, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Lights on.
A little further, 30 seconds, but we're 10 feet. I figured, we got it made. When the landing gear is just about to touch, there are probes that come down about 5-6 feet. And as soon as they hit the ground, they will bend. Because it's supposed to bend. And that sets a micro switch, and it lights a light in the cabin. And that's when I said,
Contact light.
of course, Neil is looking out the window and controlling it, but that's the first indication of actually touching down. And then we actually touch down with the 4th gear, and I call out a few things that we need to do, like shut off the engine.
Okay, engine stop.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
So we touched down, and I think the estimate, not because somebody put a dipstick in the fuel to see how much was left, but it was calculations and information on board. We probably had about 15 seconds of fuel left.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
There's really no place on Earth that we could simulate a gravity of 1/6 of what we have here. So there really wasn't a great simulation. Because of that, we were scheduled at the bottom of the ladder to just hold on and sort of see what it was like under the gravity.
Okay, I just checked getting back up to that first step. That isn't collapsed too far.
Neil went down first, and he did things, and I could see him through the window.
I'm going to step off the lamp now.
He had no trouble at all, just moving around.
That's one small step for man. One giant leap for mankind.
So I knew that there wasn't going to be any trouble for me to move around.
About a 3-footer. Beautiful view.
So we proceeded on.
Here, men from the planet Earth, first set foot upon the moon, July 1969, AD.
Walking was relatively easy. I demonstrated several means near the end of our stay on the surface in front of the TV camera. And that was planned up here if we had the time. And it looked to people back on Earth as if I was just having fun. But I was really doing something for people to observe the ease of mobility. So we went through the countdown, and when the call came from Earth,
And you're cleared for takeoff.
I had planned ahead what I was going to say.
Roger, understand. We're number 1 on the runway.
Now, when the lunar module takes off, it's about 1 G, but that's 6 times the gravity. So we leave pretty rapidly. The ascent engine is fixed, so it's a rather sloppy feeling, but it's what's expected. There's nothing wrong. And when the engine cut off, we were in a good orbit.
Some way, when those 2 Americans stepped on the moon, the people of this world were brought closer together. That it is that spirit, the spirit of Apollo, that America can now help to bring to our relations with other nations. The spirit of Apollo transcends geographical barriers and political differences. It can bring the people of the world together in peace.